So let's begin. From 2012, the golden era for AI has begun. Now, if we go in the history, in the past, this all thing of deep learning started from 1940s and 1950s. Yeah. So, are you ready to time travel with me for the exciting and most magical technology known as deep learning? Yeah. So let's begin. Now we are in 1940s or in 1950s, like around Second World War. Yeah. So around Second World War, there were some interesting people like Alan Turing, people like Rosenblatt. The main question was, what is intelligence and how to create this intelligence artificially? To answer this question, US was also very much interested in these things as this empowers them. Empower this is much more beneficial for their military purposes. I will give you an example why they were motivated to do and to invest or to fund in this type of projects. So basically, after Second World War, there was a cold war between USSR and USA. And US was trying to convert Russian language into English language, and they got to know, they discovered it can be possible with the help of machines. It can be possible with the if they do research and all in the area of artificial intelligence, or yeah, basically in modern computing and etc etc. Let me take you to in 1944. There were two people in the University of Chicago known as Warren and Walter. Mr. Warren and Mr. Walter were the first person who proposed the word neural network. They were so much inspired by the biological researchers and all. They thought it can be done. Basically, they both were mathematicians and they think in the terms of everything in terms of mathematics. So they thought how to mimic a brain, how to mimic a neurons of a brain in mathematical words. uh, the Later they both got the attention in MIT, and MIT called them for basically developing the new department, cognitive science department. So later they began in MIT. Now let me take you in 1957. The person known as Frank Rosenblatt, he has discovered an algorithm known as perceptron. Now this was the first attempt to convert a biological neuron to a mathematical neuron, and this perceptron was very similar to logistic regression, which I will be explaining in you to the further videos. Due to the lot of research in neuroscience, people have vague understanding how the brain works. Basically, it was very common knowledge that brain has a basic building block known as nucleus. This is basically neuron. Sorry, neuron. Yeah. So neuron consist of something called dendrites. These are the dendrites. These dendrites take the information, basically input the information and bring it to the nucleus. This part is known as nucleus, and here the all the processing happens, and they further pass the output of the processing through axon into another neuron. Yeah. Now the mathematicians also want to convert this biological neuron into mathematical neuron. So I will explain you how they have basically what they did was, this is a neuron. Let's consider these are the inputs to the neuron, and some processing is happening inside the neuron, and it generates some output. Yeah, so here in the diagram I have brought a picture for you. You can see this is a neuron, these are the inputs, and these are weights associated with the new inputs. And after because I will tell you why the weights are associated, because some inputs may be more important than other new inputs. So yeah, therefore the weights were associated, and after pre-processing in the neuron, the it will generate an output or pass the output to other neuron. You can see in this diagram also, there is an input layer, there is a weight layer. These are the this is nucleus consist of two things. One is summation and one is activation function. So let me explain you. So let's say this is input x1, x2, x3, etc, etc, and there are, let's say, weights associated with w1, w2, w3. These are added up, and after adding this thing, what we will do is we will apply a function, this function, activation function, we call it an activation function. Yeah, one function we apply it, and this is how mathematicians convert the research in neuroscience into in the form of mathematics. The mathematics conversion or mathematical form is very simplest explanation that we can have, but biological neuron, actual neuron in our brain, is a very complex thing. It's a very magical thing that nature has created. After that, what happens, what happened that human beings started, people started to think that in human brain or in a monkey brain or in a ant's brain, there isn't only a one neuron, there are networks of neurons. There may be one neuron is here, this another neuron, there is an input to one neuron, input to another neuron, this input goes here, this input goes here, and the output of this neuron also goes somewhere into another neuron, and this outputs to other neuron. So there is not a single, or not only single, but a networks of neurons. In the left hand side you can see how a biological neurons looks like, a network of biological neurons looks like. Now the question arises, how to create these types of network. Okay, so let me take you to the now we were in 1957. Okay, so people started to basically experiment with different things from 1960s to 1986. People started just to experiment different things. Now when we go to 1986, there is a person known as Geoffrey Hinton. Geoffrey Hinton, this is person, this is Geoffrey Hinton. He is a professor at University of Toronto, and now he is in Google. So in 1986, Geoffrey Hinton and group has proposed one paper in which they have discovered or explained a algorithm known as backpropagation. This backpropagation was the answer to how to train a neural network. Okay, basically it was inspired with how the human learns. Human learns through trial and error. In the same way, this algorithm was invented, which we will cover in later videos. This backpropagation was nothing but a simple chain rule of differentiation. Yeah, so what happens after this discovery of Jeff Hinton, people started to hype AI like there was a ton of hype of AI. Like after this invention, from 1986 to 1995, people started to believe that in next 10 year machines will replace humans. Machine will make decisions better than humans. Algorithm like CNN was invented, but unfortunately, at this point, we do not have any computer resource. Like we do not have GPUs, we do not have TPUs, etc., etc., etc. At that time, we also do not have enough data to work upon to train the model. So these two were the huge uh, things that make this hype of AI vanished, all over vanished. At this time, what actually happened was uh, all the fundings that US government was funding to the various institutions, that has stopped, and people started to see that there is not much impact on the society, not on the business, nothing, not even on the military, and the hype was all gone. The period of 1995 to 2006 was actually known as the AI winter. Uh, then the researchers started focusing on the traditional machine learning algorithms, which was SVM. SVM was the, what we can say, the favorite algorithm for everyone. Random forest, GPT. People started to build their models using this classical machine learning algorithms. But Hinton, I will explain you the mindset of Hinton, Jeffrey Hinton. He actually believed that there is in parallel there is a progress is happening in computer resources. Like people are trying to build more efficient processors. In near future there will be GPUs, TPUs, etc., etc. He also believed that in near future people will basically find a way to store huge amount of data, and they will collect huge amount of data. And due to these things, he said one day this can be achievable, and let's focus on the problem which he faced during training the neural network at 1996 1986. So he faced a problem how to train a deep neural network. He was successful training. He was able to train a small neural network. Basically, what I mean by deep neural network is okay, this is one layer of neuron. This is inputs. These inputs are going in. This is input, this is input, this is input. So this is input layer. This is first layer, this is second layer, this is second layer, this is third layer, and this is output layer. Okay, this is output layer. So this are the deep this is nothing but a 3-layer neural network. Imagine 300 layer neural network, imagine 3000 layer neural network, because our mind is like there are huge millions and millions neurons in our mind. So people believe that if we want to create some similar to a human brain, then we need to make sure to we are able to train deep neural networks. So Jeffrey Hinton was trying to solve this problem. But in 2006 he was very much successful in training deep neural network. But now there was no hype of AI, so basically no hype of his work. People were using similar algorithms, classical machine learning algorithms. Basically in 2012 the something interesting thing happened. Every year what used to happen was there was a competition. called as ImageNet, which in which the problem was to recognize objects in an image. Yeah, to classify an object in an image, yeah, etc, etc. But it was a very hard problem at that time in 2012, and people were solving this problem using SVM, random forest, etc, etc, classical machine learning algorithms. But one of the team has studied Hinton's work of 2006. They have studied how to train a deep neural network, and read the research paper of 2006, and built a model, and the result was very very amazing. The model which they have created has beat every other participant by a huge margin. Suddenly it uh, suddenly all the companies like Google, Microsoft, Amazon, Facebook, Baidu, they started taking note of deep learning and this new technology and the new concept, and said this is the next big thing. And finally the golden days of AI has begun, as they have started investing, because uh, they were having a lot of data. Like, imagine the amount of data Google is sitting on, amount of data Amazon is sitting on, and they have a large amount of computer resources. And at that time there were also many new algorithms were developed. So yeah, finally we can say the golden era of AI has begun in 2012. After 2012, after this era has begun, it has done a huge create a huge impact on our society. This deep learning powered technology, like, consider a self-driving car. It wouldn't have possible if this thing hasn't been discovered or invented. Tesla wouldn't be there, Google Waymo wouldn't be there. The voice assistants today we are using, like Alexa, Siri, Cortana, Google Assistant, they won't be there. There are various apps which in your phone which detects a skin cancer using your phone camera. This type of what we can say solutions wouldn't have been invented if this things wasn't there, if Geoffrey Hinton wasn't there. Geoffrey Hinton is the backbone of whole deep learning. So yeah, this was a very exciting history of deep learning from around Second World War, basically around 1940s to 1950s to 2012. And if you yeah in future videos, what we will be seeing, that we will be seeing classical neural network. We will be exploring MLP, like, we will be exploring CNNs, we will be exploring RNNs, and yeah, we will also be doing few projects. So like, share and subscribe, and stay tuned to this channel. And yeah,